Good morning, students. Today in this class we are going to discuss about the different types of functions that are existing in MS Excel 2007 application and details of all the functions, their syntaxes, their functions, uses with some examples. We'll be seeing this class. Now, in the yesterday's class, we discussed about the definition of the formula, how to enter the formula, what are the methods of entering formula in the Excel application, and what are the operators used in the formula in MS application, different types of operators, taking an example. Next, how to enter the formula with functions. We have seen what are the steps for entering the formula with function. Now, in the today's class, let us go and let us see the different types of functions in Excel application. Now, what are the different types of functions in MS Excel 2007 is text function, logical functions, information functions, date and time functions, then reference, lookup and reference functions, then math and trigonometric functions, then statistical functions, database functions, financial functions, engineering functions, cube functions, and web functions. Okay, students. So all these are the different types of functions in MS Excel. Along with these functions, we have other more functions that can be used in the businesses. Now let us come to the statistical functions here. So what are the statistical functions here? We can see is count, average, max, min, count of A, count blank, count if s, average if s, large, small, rank. Okay, students. So these are all the statistical functions we have in Excel application. So what is this count? Count function. Count returns counts all the values in a range. Okay, means in the cells, the values, the range of cells which contains the values, it returns the count of that cells. Next, average function calculates the average number from a range of values. Okay, it returns the average value from the range of values. Next is max. It returns the maximum value in a range. Next is min. It returns the minimum value in a range. Next is count of A. Counts all non-empty cells in a range. Non-empty means the cells which contains the values in it. Next is count blank. Counts all blank cells in a range. Okay. Next, count if. Counts all the cells in a range that meet specific criteria. Counts all the cells in a range that meet multiple criteria. Count if S. Next is average if. Calculates the average of a range of values that meet specific criteria. Next, average if S. Calculates the average of a range of values that meet multiple criteria. Next is large. Return a value dependent upon its ranking in a range of values in descending order. Next is small. Returns a value dependent upon its ranking in a range of values in ascending order. Next is rank. Returns the rank or position of a number within a range of numbers. Okay, students. So these are the list of all the statistical functions. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. That is, it is giving the syntaxes of some of the statistical functions, that is min, number 1 comma number up to some number n, which returns the minimal value from the list of argument. Max number 1 comma number 2 returns the maximum value from the list of arguments. Next is average number 1 comma number 2 returns the average of the arguments. Next is small array comma k returns the k smallest value in the array. Next is large array comma k returns the largest value in the array. Now let us go to the next slide. Here he's showing a table in which he is taking the some examples and showing how these statistical functions work. Now suppose here he has entered the numbers A1, A2, the numbers from range A2 to A9, that is 1, 9, 2, 5, 7, 4, 10, 8. Okay. Now he is using the function statistical function min min of A2 colon A9. This is a range. So what is the minimum value is it returns 1. Next, max of A2 colon A9. What is the maximum value is 10. Next is average of A2 colon A9. What is average of all these values? 5.75. Next is small. Here, what is happening? Small is a function which is used to return the smallest of all these range of values. But here in this formula is specifying comma 2, which indicates it has to give the second smallest value. What is the second smallest value in this range of cell? That is 2. Okay, okay students. Now next is large. Large is a function which returns largest value of range of values, but here he is specifying comma 3, which means he want to display the third largest value of this range of values. So what is the third largest value of this range of values is 8. Okay students, I think you have understood the functions of statistical functions. Here some of the statistical functions which is explained with an example. Now let us go to the next slide, that is other statistical functions which are nothing but a counting cells, which are used in counting cells is, that is nothing but a list of Excel function that lets you count the cells containing a certain data type or based on the condition that you specify. Count value 1 comma value 2 up to value n returns the number of numerical values, numbers comma dates in the list of arguments. Count A value 1 comma value 2 returns the number of non-empty cells in the list of arguments. It counts cells containing any information including error values, empty text string written by other formulas. Next, count blank of ranges. Counts the number of empty cells in specified range. Cells with empty text string are also counted as blank cells. Count if range comma criteria. Counts the number of cells within the range that meet the specified criteria. Okay. Next, count if s criteria underscore range 1 comma criteria, that is counts the number of cells that meet all the specified criteria. Okay. Now student, let us go to the next slide. Now in this slide here he is showing the table, the examples of the, that is a some of the functions, counting cells functions, that is count. Here we have values in A2 to A9, some values he is showing. A2 1, 3, 10, A4 it is empty, A5 5, A6 text, A7 empty again, A8 he is showing the date value, A9 8. Okay. Now when he is saying count of the range A2 to A9, so he's giving the result 5 because here some values, some cells are empty. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, why he is 5 giving the result 5? Because it is a text. Here one of the cell contains text value. Okay, his count is a function which returns only numeric count, values count. Okay, next is the count A. Count A is non-blank. Okay, non-blank means the cells which contains all the values. So it is written 6 because here it is only counting non-blank cells. Here there are only 2 non-blank cells. Other cells contain some of the other values. So it is giving the result 6. Next, count blank. A2 to A colonies. There are two cells which are blank. So it is giving the result 2. And again count if. Count if is a condition greater than, that is criteria is greater than 5. A2 to 9, A2 to A2 colon A9 is greater than 5. What is greater than 5? How many you have greater than 5 is, that is 10, 8 and then greater than 5, that is greater than and equal to 5, that is he is giving 3. Okay, the output is 3. Next is count if S. Okay, A2 to A9 greater than 5 it should be there, A2 to A9 less than 10. That is a criteria condition is greater than 5 and less than 10. So what is the answer is 1. Here the answer is 3. Here the answer is 1. Greater than 5 and less than 10. Is only 8. 8 is the value which is greater than 5 and less than 10. Okay. Now, student, let us go to the next slide. Next is the text function. Okay. Here we are discussing about the text functions. What are the text functions? Len. Next is rept. Next is trim, left, right, mid, upper, lower, proper, replace, substitute. So let us see what is this len function. That is, len returns the length in number of characters of the contents of the cell. Next is rept. Repeats a character in a specified number of times. Next, trim. Removes unwanted spaces from cells. Next is left. Extracts a specific number of characters from the start of a cell. Next is right. Extracts a specific number of characters from the end of a cell. Next is mid. Extracts a specific number of characters from the middle of a cell. Next is upper. Converts the contents of a cell to uppercase. Converts contents of a cell to lowercase. Converts the contents of a cell to proper case. Next is replace existing characters in a cell with a different set of characters. Replace existing characters with a different set of characters. Substitute. Next function is text function is substitute. Okay, students. Now these are all the text functions you have in an Excel sheet. Now let us go to the next slide. Now here we have Excel text function, string function. So it is displaying the syntax of the text function and its uses. Text value comma format underscore text is used to convert a number or a date into a text string in the specified format. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. Now here in this table he is taking an example and explaining about the text function, Excel text function. Now he has entered in A2 cell, that is 1st July 15, and in formula text A2 comma MMDDYY. So he is taking first one is month, second is date, and then year. Okay, it is giving in the format, specified format. And again there is one more example is, that is here is 20. He has entered in cell A4 20, and he is saying here text A4 comma some dollars. Okay, hash comma hash as 0.00. So here the result is, that is euro 20.00. Okay, I think students you have understood about the text function. Let us go to the next function is concatenate function. So what is this concatenate function? Is designed to join several pieces of text together or combine values from several cells into a single cell. Now, let us see, the table is showing the example of concatenate function. Now, in A2 he has entered project and in B2 he has entered 1. So he is using the formula equal to concatenate A2 comma space comma B2. So what is happening? He has combined the project and 1 with some space here. Okay, he is taking some space with his combined project here and 1 here, and showing the output project space 1. Okay, now let us go to the next slide. trim function. So trim removes leading, trailing spaces as well as excess spaces between words. Now here the table is showing the example of how the trim function is used. Now here he has entered in A2 project space 1. He want to remove the space between project and 1. So for that he is using the formula equal to trim in the brackets A2. So the what is happening? The result is project space 1. So extra spaces are removed using the trim function. Now let us go to the next slide, substitute function. Now substitute function replaces one set of characters with another in a specified cell or a text string. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. Here he is taking an example how the substitute function is working. Now in A2 he has entered apples, oranges, lemon. Now in the formula he is saying equal to substitute A2, double quotes, comma in the double quotes semicolon. What he want to do in spaces of comma he want to replace semicolon. Okay, see what is the result? Apples semicolon, oranges semicolon. Okay, I think students you have understood the substitute, that is substitute function. Okay, now let us go to the next slide, value function. Next slide is showing value function. So what is this value function here? Converts a string text string to a number. This function is really helpful when it comes to converting text formatted values representing the numbers into a numbers that can be used in other Excel formulas and calculations. Now, let us go to the next slide, exact function. So what is this exact function? It compares two text strings and returns true if both values are exactly the same, including case, or false if they are not same. For example, if A2 is apples and B2 is apples. Now see students here, in A2 it is in small letters, that is first letter of apples is small, and in B2 cell first letter of apples is capitals. Now when you use here, when you apply exact function, exact in brackets A2 comma B2, what is happening? It is returning the value false because it is not matching. So it will compare two values. If they matches, it returns true. If they don't match, it returns false. Okay students, I think you have understood about exact function. Now let us go to the next function, next slide. That is a next slide shows the function to change text cases. That is upper, lower, proper. What is this upper function? It converts all the characters in a specified text string to uppercase. Next is lower. Changes all uppercase letters into a text string to lowercase. Next is proper. It capitalizes the first letter of each word and converts all other letters to a lowercase. Now here below is a table which is showing the examples of all these text functions. Now let us see. Now here he is taking in A2 cell projects to complete. Now when you use the function equal to upper in the brackets A2, what is happening? The result is this text is converted into capital letters. Projects to complete. All the letters are converted into capital letters. Okay. Now let us go to the next text, next function is lower A2. What is happening here? When you say lower A2, all the text is uppercase text is converted into lowercase characters here. Okay, projects to complete in a small letters. Now here, the next function is proper. Proper of A2 equal to proper of A2 means what it is doing here. What is the main use of proper function is it converts the first letter of the text into capital letters, first letter of text into capital letters, and it includes the spaces between the string. Okay, it capitalizes the first letter of each word and converts all the other letters to lowercase. Okay, see, projects to complete. So these are the change text case functions of the Excel applications. Now let us go to the next slide. Extract text characters. That is, you have to extracting is a text characters left, right, mid. So left returns a specified number of characters from the beginning of the text string. Right returns a specified number of characters from the end of his text string. Mid returns a specified number of characters from a text string starting at any position that you specify. Okay, below table shows the example of all these functions, extract text character functions. Now here in A2 he has entered project 1 completed text, okay, string. Now when you use function left A2 comma 7, what is happening here? Here from the left, seven letters are taken into count. Okay, so the result is project. Next, mid function. Mid A2 comma 9 comma 1 he is saying. So what he want? After the ninth character, what is the other character coming into picture? In the middle of the text is, he is returning 1 here. Next is right. Right A2 comma 10. From the right, he is returning the 10 characters, that is nothing but completed. So student, I think you have understood with examples. In this slide he is showing what are the extract text characters, that is left, right and mid. Now let us go to the next slide. In the next slide he is showing the logical functions in Excel application. What are the logical functions in Excel application is if, and, or, if error. So what is the if function? Test is a condition and takes an alternative action depending on the result. Next is the AND function. Test is up to 30 conditions using logical AND. Next is OR function. Test up to 30 conditions using logical OR. If error performs a specified action if a formula evaluates to an error and displays the formula result if not. Now let us go to the next slide. Logical functions in Excel. So he's showing here the syntax of the logical functions in Excel application along with the table which is showing the examples how the logical functions will be executed. So let us go to this is the syntax here, and in the brackets logical 1 comma logical 2 returns true if all the arguments evaluates to true, false otherwise. Next is OR. Logical 1 logical 2 returns true if at least one of the arguments is true. Next is XOR. Logical 1 logical 2 returns a logical exclusive or of all arguments. So let us go to the example. Here A3 the value is 1 and B3 the value is 0. Now when you use AND function, and A2 is equal to 0 comma B2 is equal to 0, it will compare. AND is an operator which compares. Is A2 0? No. Is B2 0? Yes. But here the condition is both should be true. If both are true, it will return the answer true. Otherwise, it returns false. Here, next is OR. A2 is 0? No. B2 is 0? Yes. Here in OR condition, any one comparison can be true. If it is true, it returns true. Next is XOR. Is A2 0? No. Is B2 0? Yes. But XOR, it is returning. If it is true, it returns true. Now let us see the other example is here. A2 is 0, 1, 1. Okay. Here A4 contains one value, B4 contains one value. Is A2 is 0? No. Is B2 0? No. Then both are false, it returns false. Is A2 0? No. Is B2 0? No. Both are false. Or also, or any are false, it returns false. Okay. XOR. In XOR also, here false false, it returns false. Here A2 is 0, yes. B2 is 0, it returns true. If A2 is 0 or B2 is 0, any one true, it returns true. XOR is, it returns false because it is a uh, reverse of OR function. XOR means reverse of OR functions. Now let us go to the next slide. Not function, not logical, reverses a value of its argument if logical evaluates to false. The not function returns true and vice versa. For instance, for example, not true. Not 2 into 4 is equal to 2 into 2 is equal to 4. Let us go to next function, next to slide, if function. If function is nothing but, it's sometimes called a conditional function. It returns a value based on the conditions that you specify. So this is the syntax. If logical underscore test value underscore if underscore true value underscore if underscore false. Okay. Now let us go to the example. If a1 is not equal to space comma good comma bad, returns a good if there is any value in the cell a1, bad otherwise. Or suppose for example, here is an example of nested if formula that deciphers the exam score in the cell. If A2 is greater than 80, brilliant. If A2 is greater than 50, good. If A2 is greater than 30, fair. Otherwise, poor. It returns poor. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. If error IFNA function. So both functions are used to check if a certain formula evaluates to an error, and if it does, the MS Excel functions returns a specified value instead. If error value comma value underscore if underscore error checks if the formula or expression evaluates to an error. If it does, the formula returns the value specified in the value underscore if underscore error argument. Okay. Next is IFNA. Introduced in Excel 2013, it works similarly to if error but handles hash NA errors only. The following example NA only. Now let us go to the next function, next slide. Okay. Now, students, today in this class we have seen different types of functions. What are the list of different types of functions, and we discussed about in detail about the statistical functions. Then you have text functions, statistical function, text functions, then logical function. So we have discussed the today's class about the functions of the functions, how they are used with examples and with syntax and explanation of what are the uses of those functions. I think you have all the students have understood because I have taken the example and explained you each and every function of functions, how they are performing. Okay. Now for today, I'll end the class here and I'll end the class here and bye for now. Bye students for now. Thank you.